Such a great version. It worked beautifully and was a massive hit. James Taylor and Carly Simon and Mockingbird are better than the original, and thanks to Lane and Fife for suggesting that. If you got a record made in the 1970s that you think was better than the original version, then please drop us a line to walker@bbc.co.uk, and in the subject box just put BTO for better than original. And that's it for Sounds of the 70s this afternoon. Now look at Dark Side of the Moon celebrating its 50th birthday. Hard to believe. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to Liz Barnes and Johnny California from Listen, who produced the show for Radio 2. I'll be back with a rock show Friday night at 11 and more Sounds of the 70s next Sunday at 3. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
With the BBC News at 5 o'clock, this is Jason Kay. Financial regulators in Switzerland are trying to clear the way for an emergency deal to allow the takeover of the troubled bank Credit Suisse. The country's biggest lender, UBS, is in advanced talks to buy all or part of its rival after Credit Suisse was caught up in the turmoil of the banking sector. Chris Roebuck, who's held a senior role at UBS, says the situation is a test of leadership for Switzerland as a country.
We've got here, to some degree, a reversal of where we were in the financial crisis, where UBS was hit badly and Credit Suisse wasn't. And the reason we're here now is fundamentally that because UBS was hit badly and bailed out, it learnt the lessons.
The John Lewis Partnership is in the early stages of exploring a plan which would mean its staff would no longer own 100% of the company. The retail giant, which recently reported a large loss, is examining whether it could raise money by selling a stake in the firm. There's been an angry reaction in Ukraine to the Russian President Vladimir Putin visiting Mariupol, a city which his forces captured last year. Our diplomatic correspondent James Landale has been monitoring developments from Kiev.
Vladimir Putin arrived in Mariupol by helicopter and drove himself around the city. His aim, it would appear, to show off a city being reconstructed after last year's devastation. Mr. Putin's visit came only days after international prosecutors accused him formally of war crimes. This visit will be seen as a show of defiance by the Russian leader. Vadim Boychenko, the mayor of Mariupol, told the BBC that all Ukrainians would see Mr. Putin as a criminal who was returning to the scene of his crime.
The Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey, has called for greater action to stop sewage from being pumped into rivers. Water companies are only permitted to carry out releases during periods of heavy rain to prevent effluent from affecting people's homes. But last year, campaigners said sewage was allowed into rivers and seas almost 150 times over a 12-month period. Under government plans, water companies in England will have to be more transparent. Giving an address at the Lib Dem Spring Conference, Sir Ed said that voters would punish the Conservatives for a failure to act.
They want an end to the Conservatives letting water companies get away with pumping filthy sewage straight into our rivers. That is one of the biggest environmental crimes in our country today. And it's a crime that will cost the Conservatives dozens of seats if they don't act.
Football now, and the Premiership side Brighton have ended Grimsby's fairy tale FA Cup run, thrashing the League Two club 5-0 at the Amex Stadium. Sheffield United beat Blackburn to put them through to the semi-finals, where they'll play Manchester City. In the Premier League, Arsenal beat Crystal Palace 4-1. And the weather a generally mild night, some of the rain in Northern Ireland, Northern England and parts of Scotland. And that's the BBC News at 5:03. Time for the travel news now. Here's Orna Merchants.
Jason, thank you. And Lancashire with Mains Lane, the A585, where it meets the A588 at Breck Road, which is a roundabout. Roadworks